All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to training. I am KG. I'm going to be going over leads and setting appointments. So please get your notepads ready. Make sure your pens work because you are going to learn one of the most important parts of this business and how to get successful at it. So you guys can get some better results and more results, period. Right? So the first thing I'm going to start talking about is leads, right? And I think this is so important. Look at it like, guys, this is your business, right? And look at it like if you were going to open up your own McDonald's. You wouldn't open up a McDonald's without selling burgers and fries, right? So your leads are your burgers and fries of your McDonald's, right? It's what the customer is going to buy. And if you don't have any leads, you don't have any burgers and fries, you don't have a business, right? You'll be out of business very quickly. So I want you guys to start thinking of making sure you have a lead flow. What is your budget? If you don't know what your budget is, get with your upline, right? Because most of you have already done a strategy call about how much you're going to be investing back into your business each and every week so that you can continue to have people to talk to that are looking for coverage, right? Now, I know some people on here are getting referrals. And keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with getting referrals. I'm like the referral queen, right? However, if you want your income to be consistent, if you always want to have somebody to talk to about insurance, so you want to make sure you're buying leads each and every week. Okay. Now, when you start your dial day, guys, you're gonna start with leads that are new to you. So they don't necessarily have to be new, they need to be new to you, right? And we have all different types of leads. We have age leads, real-time leads. We have all different types, right? Internet. Um, we have some that, we have mailers. We have all different types. So make sure you have leads to start that are new to you each and every day. If you're calling the same old leads, and I know some of you have done that before on here, right? You don't get the best results. We don't want to keep bugging the same people who keep telling you no, right? You're not going to be able to close sales that way. So make sure you have new leads each and every dial session or the days that you're scheduled to work. Guys, I want to talk about being prepared as well, right? So for most of us, we start our dial day at 9 a.m., right? You can start earlier. The designated time is 7:30. But most of the live dials, we get started at 9 a.m. Purchase your leads the night before, right? And if I can get Tiffany, because she gave us this hack when it comes to the ILC leads and when to purchase them. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was purchasing the ILC leads, before I started purchasing the real-time leads, they were loading them at 6 p.m. in the evening and 6 a.m. in the morning, right? But I would wake up at 6 a.m. or before 6 a.m., get a fresh batch of leads that were just loaded into the system. And then mostly everybody else was purchasing leads like when they got up, like after 10 o'clock, right? And so I would say this to say you're better off getting the leads that you want in the states that you like to work when you purchase them early. So Tiffany, can you remind the team of what that hack is?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Between 3 and 4 a.m. Sometimes I've noticed them at 2, but 3 a.m. is the sweet spot. Yeah,
What's the
yeah,
sweet spot?
it ain't the 6 a.m. no more. They
No, it's
switched
not the
them
6
over
a.m. anymore. They
earlier.
changed it.
hmm
So what
I don't even mess around with 6 o'clock no more. I be on it at like 3 a.m.
And can you just tell me the result of doing that? Like what kind of leads did you purchase? How much were they? And how many were you able to get? And what were you able to do with that?
The IUL leads from the social media.
Hmm.
They're $1.50 now. I like to buy the aged ones because they're people who either they haven't made it across the finish line yet or they have not been reached. So I prefer those social media IUL ones. Now the mailers, I do prefer the fresher mailers, and I feel that they are at a cost effective price. They're like between $6 to $8 each. That ain't nothing for somebody who have physically filled out the form. Like if people try to tell me, "Oh, I didn't fill it out," no, I got a copy right here. So that's why I like the mailers also.
That's good. Because with what Tiffany just talked about, spending $1.50 on a lead when the average monthly premium for an IUL is between like 300 to 500, that's insane return on your investment, right? So if you're thinking to yourself, well, am am I gonna make the money back? You spend $1.50, right? Of course you're gonna make the money back if you put in the work. So the people who don't get a return on their investment, right, are people who don't work, who don't have a schedule, and aren't purchasing leads each and every week. So make that a thing to get up at that time. If you don't have a lot of money and you have a low budget to start, utilize the ILC at 3 or 4 a.m. and get your leads so you can get them at a lower price than what the average price is.
Real quick, Tiffany, is it just social media, IUL, but what are we looking? Can you share your screen real quick and show us? Because I think that would be very helpful.
KG or me?
You, Tiffany.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Hold on. There.
We got Tiffany next time, and I'm using her today.
If y'all want to know the fine print about anything, Tiffany knows all of the fine print about she knows all of the little tricks and the cheat codes and all. She knows all of the things.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Tiff, can you move me off of the screen?
Did that take you off?
Please, yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry. So if you come here to product type, you want to click life. Social media. And then you can pick your state, but I'm just going to scroll down now so we don't have to do state specific so you can see. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see here silver IUL lead. There are no bronze ones because it's 11 o'clock. People have already been in the system to get it. So that's why you're not seeing it right now. That's why KG pointed out the time of day. But this is how you get to those. And if you want to filter to the mailers that I spoke of, instead of selecting social media, you would select direct mail. You can filter to your state. Do not leave it like this because it'll give you leads from anywhere and you don't want to accidentally get leads where you're not licensed. But you scroll down to not the mortgage protection. Final expense. Look, the gold ones are $6. These people that been filtered out within the last 91 to 180 days.
And
I like that.
Can you explain real quick, like the difference between a mailer and because there's a lot of new people on here, so a lot of new people have no idea what we're talking about when we talk about a mailer.
So
they've never
I
even
could
seen
show
one.
you better than I could tell you.
Evidence.
Hold on, account. Hold on, wait, this from my cell phone, so bear with me, y'all. Manage leads. Here we go. So Sherry is more than likely a mailer because those are the last ones that I purchased. Oh no, that's a mortgage protection. A mailer is simply someone who got the information in the mail, physically filled out their name, their phone number, everything, and mailed the form back in. Like it can't be no more self-explanatory than that. Hold on.
It can't say so. And then you have a copy of the mail. When you get these leads, you'll get a copy of the mailer. So when somebody says, "I don't know what you're talking about," you can send them a picture of the mailer with their handwriting that they filled out.
Yep, here we go.
Mailed back to us.
And so when you click it, it'll say template. Now look, this person filled it out, even though it's chicken scratch. This person cannot say, no, I did not do that. Okay, well, is it a ghost in your house or something? Because And I literally take a screenshot and I am I talking to you on your cell phone? Yes, I take a screenshot, send it to him and say, okay, whose handwriting is that? Because it's not mine. And I just like it because it breaks down a wall, a barrier for me better than a internet lead.
That's good. So guys, like I said, and then even if, you're not doing IULs just yet, a lot of you are new on here, so you haven't graduated to that part yet, still getting on at that time to get those leads so that before anyone else goes in there and grabs them, so you can get enough in the state that you want to run in or whatever is in your state. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is how many dials should you be dialing per hour, right? And Kali says this all the time. This business is what, Miss Erica Lewis? Can you hear me? This business is numbers and systems. I need y'all to pay attention, right? Because this is how you're going to get better, right? Numbers and systems. I'm not that great. Kali, Amaka, all of these on here, Tiffany, we're not that great. We're just great at working the numbers, right? So you want to make sure you're dialing 40 dials per hour. This also includes presentations. This is to have success for the day. And through that is dialing the FFL way. Let me see. Heavenly.
Shalom.
Shalom. What's the FFL way when we dial? Is everybody awake? What is happening?
Yes, ma'am. Hello,
Okay, we don't got that much time, so let's go. What's the FFL way?
Yes, ma'am. Dialing the first time all the way through into the voicemail. And then if they don't answer, you go to the next one. Then when you do your second round, then you call 3 times again to the 4th ring, and then you hang up. And then on the 4th one, that's where we dial the star 67.
Okay, so here's what I want everybody to do, because you got to go back and watch that video on how to dial the FFL way. You got to ask yourself, with the results that you're getting now, what are you not doing? And if you are doing it, are you doing it the right way? Right? So Kali is going to put the link into the chat on how to dial the FFL way so you guys can have success. Okay?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
if you're doing 40 dials per hour, that should equal out to about 250 to 300 dials every dial session. If you're dialing less than 250 dials for the day, you're not working. Period. You got to put the time in.
250?
250 or more. So guys, and that leads me to the dial tracker sheet, right? Why do we use a dial tracker sheet? Kevin.
So you could keep track of what you're dialing, because you could get lost while you're dialing. You might think you're dialing 250, but you really dial probably 75. Keep good track of everything what you're doing.
That sounds like you've been there before. So no, guys, he's correct. So using a dial tracker sheet, right, and keeping track of your dials is going to help us to coach and train you, but it's also going to help you understand what your numbers are, right? So the dial tracker sheet is quickly going to tell us if, number one, like Kevin said, if you're not dialing enough, right? So if it's anything less than 250, which should only take you about 4 hours, if that, right? 4 or 5 hours. But that's going to tell us if you're not working enough, right? Or if you are working and you're dialing 250 or more, and you have people picking up the phone, it's something that you're saying that we need to fix, which is why live dials is so important, so that you can start getting results and start closing clients, right? Because see, here's the thing. We can't help you if we can't hear you, right? And the biggest mistake people make in this business is doing it on their own. If you knew what you were doing, you would be where we are today. So I encourage everybody, get a dial tracker. And guys, don't just fill it out completely. What time did you start? What time did you finish, right? Because as time goes on, if you're consistent and consistently using this and consistently running your schedule and doing the business, the FFL way, the system that we've put in place, you're going to notice that as time goes on, you're going to get better. So you're not going to have to spend as much time on the phone to get the results, right? You might so for example, I remember it used to take me all day to book 10 appointments. Now I can book 10 appointments in 4 hours or 5 hours. 10 to 15. But it wasn't always like that in the beginning. Does that make sense, guys? But you can only get better if you're tracking your numbers and tracking what you're doing and how you're doing. That's the only way you're going to know if you're getting better. All right, so dial tracker sheet, got that. Guys, also too, don't just purchase one type of leads, right? You guys want to make sure you have a mixture of leads, right? And what do I mean by that, right? If you know how to do IULs, mortgage protection, okay, great. Mix that in with some final expense. But for those of you, we got a lot of new people on that are just getting started. When you go to purchase your leads, don't just mix it up. Don't just purchase from one state. Don't just purchase one type, right? Mix it up between the new leads, mix it up between some age leads. I know some people started out with some vet leads, got some vet leads in there, some final expense leads. Mix it up so you have a variety of leads to call. That is also a strategy to having success on the phones. And guys, again, lead flow, right? In order for your lead to flow, you got to have leads each and every week. If you've bought leads and you have not gotten a return on your investment on those leads, it's somewhere in the system that something didn't happen. You either didn't get on live dials to get the help, you tried to do it on your own, or you didn't buy enough leads, you didn't fill out the dial tracker. It's one of those. Because the goal is each and every week, let's say you start out with 250, right? Each and every week, you're not using a different 250. You're taking the first 250, investing it in the leads, working those leads like crazy for the week. Once you make a return on your investment, you're going to take that same 250 and apply it to the next week. So each week you're using the same 250. But if you're not doing the things that we're talking about, you're going to be spending a new 250 every week. Which one would you want, Amanda? You want to spend a new 250 every week or use the same 250 each and every week?
What you said, for sure. New 250. New 250.
You want the new 250 every week? You want to spend 250 every week? Or do you want to use the same 250 you started with?
If you're talking about leads.
Corinne, maybe
I'm gonna say it again.
Re-explain it because I think
Let me explain it again.
Confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're dialing, you're gonna start your first week with your first batch of leads on Monday. You spent 250 on those leads, right?
Okay.
Your goal is to work those leads the entire week.
Yes.
And get a return on your investment.
Yes. So you can turn around and buy new leads, right?
Exactly. But you're using the same 250 each and every week.
Okay.
Or if you're not working the system, what'll happen is you'll spend 250 to start out your week. And if you don't follow the system, you got to come out of your pocket another 250. So each week you're spending more money than you should because you're not working the leads.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank
or
you.
the system the FFL way. Make sense now?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so I'm assuming what you want to do is the same 250 each and every week. Okay, everybody understands that? Okay, perfect, awesome. Does anybody have any questions about leads before I go into setting appointments?
Yes.
Can we Can we
Oh.
double check for some understanding about just some of the stuff that you went through before you go to the next part? 'Cause I wanna
Absolutely.
know who's like really paying attention this morning.
Perfect. Lionheart.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. How many dials per hour?
40 per hour, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Awesome. Lady Phoenix.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-oh. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many dials should be dialed each and every dial session? How many dials should you have total on your dial tracker sheet?
250 or 300, ma'am.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Crazy hour.
And when's the best time to purchase leads, Israel?
Said at 3 a.m.
Yes. Good job. All right, perfect. Guys, any questions on leads?
Yeah, I have a question. Okay, you said so at the beginning of the week you start with 250, right? You invest in 250. And then you spend the whole week going through the 250. But so you stick to the same 250 if there's still clients that you haven't talked to yet, right?
Help me.
Rand, let me try to explain it and see if I can
Okay.
explain a little bit differently. So let me just, so 250 is for you if you're part-time, guys. If you're full-time, it's probably going to be more like 500 or more. If you want the results that you're seeing everybody get. So for the and we're not saying you want to work your way up to that amount, right? But I just want to clarify that part. So 250 is for somebody who's part-time. It's more like 500 for full-time or more, right? So people, when you see people writing 100,000 in a month, they're spending probably $15,000 or $20,000 in leads. So let's just be clear on that, because some of you guys might look at you might be on a training and somebody did 100,000. You're like, I can't even do 10, but they're spending a lot more money on leads. So just make sure that you understand that they're not doing anything special. They just got more money than you do, right at this moment. So when Karyn is talking about spending the same 250 or the same, let's call it 500, because it's mostly full-timers on here. So Israel, I spend $500 a day on leads, right? My goal has always been is to at least make that money back, right? So if I spend $500 on leads, at the very least, I just need to break even. Now I know if I spend 500, I should be able to write about 5,000, right? So if I'm spending 500 this Friday and then I do a policy and the person pays tomorrow and I get paid on Monday or Tuesday, I'm not spending a new $500 because I just made my money back. Does that make more sense? So I'm just reinvesting the same, because I haven't lost any money. I'm reinvesting the same $500 every time I make a sale, right? The problem is people are scared to buy leads or nervous about buying leads because you're not willing to bet on yourself. So I will ask each and every one of you guys on here this morning, if you have not invested in leads, why haven't you invested in leads? Unless you're brand new, right? If you're brand new, we do help you get started with some leads, even if there's some old leads. But if you've been here for a while, ask yourself, why aren't you consistently buying leads, right? And if you're not consistently buying leads, it's because you're probably not willing to bet on you. Because when you have a job, most of us have come from a job. You have a job, the job is going to pay you regardless. Whether you work, whether you're on the internet all day, they're going to pay you, right? You're going to get a salary for the most part. But this is all based on you and your own efforts. And so I knew when I first started FFL, I said, I'm gonna buy, and this is the thought process, guys. Like I literally said, am I about to spend $600 on a spreadsheet? Because that's what we're in essence asking you to do, is spend $500, $600, $250 on some names and some phone numbers, right? And I had to say, okay, I know at the very least, I'm good enough to at least make one sale and make my money back. And so each one of you guys, you got to grasp that concept in your head that I know I'm good enough to at least make my money back that I spent on the leads. But I know that each and every one of you guys are better than that, right? And so, and if you follow the system that we have in place and get on the live dials and get help and coaching and feedback when you're calling the leads, that's the only way you're going to get better. You're not going to get better doing this by yourself. You're not going to get better doing this with your mom. You're not going to get better doing this with your boyfriend. You got to have people around you that have done what you're doing and have had success with what you're doing. We're not going to talk to Kevin again this week about the mistake that he made. We're not going to keep picking on Kevin, but he said last week, once he got plugged in, once he started getting on the live dials and getting feedback, that's when he actually started closing. So guys, we don't want you to waste your money. Yep, Stefano, yep, I say all the time, scared money don't make money. So if you're scared to spend money in this business, you're not going to make any money in this business. It's just, it is what it is. But if you're willing to bet on yourself and bet at the very least, you can at least make your money back, you can be wildly successful. But it starts with your mindset first, guys. And again, ask yourself, if you've been here for longer than 2 months and you haven't bought leads, or you only bought one batch of leads, ask yourself, what is getting in the way of you moving forward? Is it you, or is it the system that FFL has? So, all right, Karyn, I went a little bit further than I was.
No, that was good.
All right, y'all.
You elaborated. But no, that's right. So, all right. So that wraps us up on leads. Now,
One
the
question.
next thing I want, go ahead.
On the lead, so I know it's 3 a.m. Is there a certain day? I know you said before we start live dials, is it like a Sunday or something like that?
Every day that end in the word day.
Okay, cool. Cool.
But again, you want to have your leads ready for the week. So definitely Sunday night into Monday. But yes, that's good. All right, so setting appointments, guys, this is so important. Now, I know we used to be in the field, so we always said, like, before you can get good in the homes, you got to get good on the phones, right? But before you can close a family or help a family, you have to master the script and you have to master setting appointments, right? The more appointments you have, the more chances you have of talking with someone to help them with life insurance, right? Or whatever you're helping them with. So it starts with, guys, it starts with your non-negotiable schedule, right? What days are you working? What days are you setting and running appointments, right? What days is your business open? Is it closed all week? Is it only open 2 days a week, 3 days a week? Figure out what your non-negotiable schedule is so that you can run appointments effectively, right? And be mindful of time frame and time zones, because when we're calling mortgage protection, IULs, those people are working during the day, right? So most of those appointments will be in the evening. And then if you're doing final expense and you're brand new and just starting, or if you're running final expense, these are people that are older. They're 50 and older. They are home all day. They aren't on a fixed income. They're not really doing too much, right? So you're going to have a lot of appointments during the day. So, I mean, guys, treat this like a job. It'll pay you like a business, right? So figure out what your non-negotiable schedule is going to be. And then with the type of leads that you're buying, right? What days are they most effective that what days are they most effective, morning or evening, and tailor to your schedule that way. Like, I know for me, a lot of my IULs and mortgage protections are in the evening, and all my final expense in most cases is during the day. So you got to figure out what works for you. And if you're not sure, get with your trainer so that they can help you develop a schedule, as well as, and as well as to have the leads to go with that schedule. Tiffany, you got a question?
Yeah. So, with the leads, I find, or is there a strategy I will use?
You're breaking up real
Because
bad.
when I buy leads from others,
Go ahead.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a strategy so far as, like, when I buy leads in other states, I'm noticing that a lot of those leads don't answer the phone, and I'm assuming it's because of my area code. Like, a lot of us, we don't answer the phone when we see an area code we're not used to. But then when I buy leads from my state where I'm from, and it's the same area code, almost 80% answers the phone. So is there a trick or a strategy behind that?
Are you dialing the
Or any
FFL
or
way?
any feedback?
Yeah, are you dialing the FFL
Huh?
way? Are you dialing the FFL way?
Am I dialing? I'm dialing from my phone number.
Right, but are you dialing the FFL way?
She's talking about the system. Are you dialing the system?
Through the system?
Okay. So the link that Khalid provided in the chat, I want you to dial the FFL way and use are you using a dial tracker sheet?
No, I put it on my Excel sheet and I'm just calling from my cell phone.
Okay.
I think what we should do with Tiffany, so that you understand, because we've changed a lot of our processes since you started.
Oh, okay.
I need you to get on my calendar and let me do a strategy call with you so you can see what we're doing with the new agents and how
Okay.
everything is supposed to work. That's the same thing I went through with Chanel, and I think Chanel said it was very helpful. Well, I don't think she said, that's what she said. But yeah, you need to get on my calendar and do a strategy call so you're not lost and you can help your team go in the right direction.
Okay.
All right.
Real
Cool.
quick, KG, before you
Yes.
continue, one thing that I do, because I use my cell phone and I use Ringy, if I'm dialing from my cell phone, a
Yeah,
trick
that's the
that I
question.
learned was to send a text message first
Mm-hmm.
and say your name. So for example, if I'm calling a final expense mailer, hey Tiffany, this is Tiffany. I received your request for more information on the state of regulated blase splee. I'll be giving you a call shortly. So now when you call that person,
They
it
could
says
answer.
maybe Tiffany instead of spam likely or coming up as spam.
That's the question. Okay. Just if you end up calling from your cell phone, what's the other way to do it? So you send a text message first, and do they what's usually the response?
If they don't respond, now when I'm calling, they see my name. So my goal is to not come up as spam. So then I'm sending the text first, but I'm still dialing the FFL way. I'm still doing everything Khalid taught in that video. It's just a trick I learned so my phone number won't come up as spam.
So, and it's with the iPhone. So I'm gonna give y'all some more context. So with the iPhone, if you text somebody and say, if I text you, Tiffany, you don't have my phone number in your phone, and I say, this is Khalid, when I call you, it's gonna say possibly Khalid Somerville. That's how you get, so that's just a trick to trick the phone. So if your phone is coming up as spam, am I frozen?
No.
Oh, okay. Tiffany's breaking up. So I'm texting that. When I do call, it's not showing up as spam. It's saying possibly Khalid Somerville, or maybe it says maybe Khalid Somerville.
Oh, okay.
That's what she's saying. So I think it only works with iPhones. I don't know. I mean, they changed some stuff with Android. Androids are not better.
Okay. I'm gonna start. Do you put your license in there too, or do you wait for them to respond if you send in a text?
No, so Tiffany Phillips is just saying before she calls them, she'll just send a text saying it's Tiffany. Hey, this is Tiffany. And so then when she does call, it'll say possibly Tiffany Phillips or whatever her caller ID says.
Okay. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. But it matters what leads you do that with. So if we're talking about new leads, then yes, I recommend it. If we're talking about older leads, I don't recommend it. Because a lot of these older leads, go ahead.
Because I was specifically asking that question for other states that don't answer the phone because I don't have the same area code if I happen to want to call them from my cell phone.
I mean, there's other ways around it. Like they have apps. They have apps where we have a CRM where you can buy a phone number. You have apps where you can get a free number in whatever state that you're calling. Right. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I don't like the apps, and I've never had that issue when I've dialed the FFL way. Yeah, they get so many phone calls at some point they're going to want to know who's calling them and who is this, right? So when you're doing it that way, eventually they'll answer. Is it more likely that they'll answer from an area code that's familiar to them? Yes, absolutely. There's ways around that. You can get an app. But other than that, if you're just using your phone and you're not going to use a CRM and you're not going to use the app, then you got to dial the FFL way so that they get multiple phone calls within a day. So eventually they pick up. So you have a higher return of people picking up.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. But I only send text messages to newer leads. The older ones, I don't want to give them a reason not to get back to me if they know what you're calling about. You get what I'm
So it
saying?
could go either or, yeah.
Because a lot of these older leads is really, in most cases, handling the objections.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because if they already bought it, they're not getting back to you. But they could have the wrong type of insurance. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll get the CRM system this weekend.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, guys, mastering the script. The only way you're gonna get the appointments is by mastering the script. And one thing I want to say is that if you haven't mastered handling the objections, you have not mastered the script. So if you're brand new on here, ask yourself, have you sent your recording to your trainer? And you don't even have to be brand new, right? If you've been here for a few months and you need help, right? It starts with that script. Record yourself and send it to your trainer so we can listen to how you're doing the script and we can help you make adjustments and changes. Because it's not just reading the script. It's about posture. It's about tonality. It's, how are you saying the words? Are you saying them too fast? Are you saying them too slow? Like, we can pick apart what's going on so we can help you to get better at mastering the script. If you're starting out with, just in general, leads, period, a lot of it is handling objections, right? A lot of people you call are going to think they know everything about anything and they don't have a license, right? So you are the professional. So make sure you really get down to handling those objections. And what's the best way to do it? I know for me, with the script, I took the objections out the script and stapled my script together. And then I highlighted each objection and kept all of them in front of me so that when I got the objection, guess what? I was able to go right to that objection on my paper because it was highlighted and I could get there quicker than just trying to read a bunch of words on a paper and not being able to find it. So take your objections out, right? Put them in front of you, make sure they're highlighted, staple your script together. And once you keep doing it and you stay consistent at it, you're going to get better at it, right? And then also too, guys, I want to mention, which has really helped out the team. I recommend everybody getting some plug-in headset, like a plug-in headset or earphones to connect to whatever device you're using for live dials. The reason that is so that you can quickly get better and that we can help you, right? So I have I have earphones right here, right, that I connect to my laptop. This is so that I can hear you guys and you guys can hear me. But then I'm using my phone and I'm putting it on speakerphone so you guys can hear the client, right? You can hear what they're saying, but they can't hear you. So like if I get stuck, Polly can jump in without shouting and yelling. She can jump in and say this, right? And I can use her brain so I can close the sale. So we have a financial, and we have a vested interest in you, right? When you make money, we make money. So we want to help you out as much as possible, but you can't do this on your own, right? And then it's kind of like your favorite song. You don't know the words at first when you first hear it, right? But if you keep singing it over and keep listening to it, you're eventually going to know all the words. It's the same with the script. It's the same with the objections. So get an earpiece so you can hook it up to your live dials, right? So when you unmute, right, it's not a bunch of stuff going on. We can coach you. You can use our brain. We can tell you what to say so that we can get you that sale. Where is Dean? Is he on here?
He's in a breakout room.
I'm here. I'm
So
here.
Dean, can you just kind of talk about what happened that Saturday when I helped you close over like 4,300 over $4,000 in like an hour?
Yes.
Okay.
Talk about it. So clients had dialed a while ago. Finally got them on the phone. I was struggling. I was coming back from a long break, didn't know what I was doing, was discombobulated, was trying to write them a term policy. They was like 60 something. And one of them was a smoker. Karyn got on the phone and was actually talking to me during live dials. And she said, go to a breakout room. And then we went to a breakout room, and then she just was coaching me. Then she finally just took over and started talking to the clients. She basically got to the bottom of why they was doing the insurance, got them to buy in to the whole life, which was more expensive, got them to buy in to everything. And they went from thinking they was getting all this coverage to getting $40,000 policies, and they was perfectly happy. In fact, I saw them the other day. They super happy with everything. They excited, clients for life. So, but yeah, without KG, I would have missed out on that. I would have missed out on the whole thing. It would have been nothing. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting better, Dean.
I'm getting better. I'm getting
Yes.
better. Yeah.
But I mean, how many of you would want to make over $4,000 in an hour? This is why you have to unmute. This is why you have to get the coaching. We're like begging you to make money. And some of you are telling us no. And so I encourage everyone, and I get it, guys. Sometimes we are busy, right? But this is why we have the hotline number. This is why we have, right? Unmute or throw it in the chat. If you hear somebody that's talking on the live dials and you don't want to interrupt, put it in the chat. Text us, right? We will get you the help that you need. But it's not going to happen if you're doing this on your own. It's not going to happen if you're on live dials and you're muted the entire day.
Can I say something else?
Yes.
There was another policy that I was doing well after that. Some other people were talking on live dials. I had a little bit of an issue. I tried to do it myself. I ended up messing up the sale. I still haven't got the sale. I still haven't talked to the lady again. But if I had just unmuted or seek the help by texting somebody, I would have had that sale. So
that's good. Thanks for being transparent, Dean. Yeah, so I mean, like, guys, let's all get better from today. And let's start working the system, but most importantly, get on live dials, get the coaching so you can continue to get better, right? All right, and I said Matt, and then Kali is throwing everything in the chat, guys. So please use these resources that we have available to you. It's free resources so that you can understand the system and what you need to do to have success. I went over filling out the dial tracker sheet already, and filling it out correctly. And then let's talk about so remember, this business is numbers and systems, right? So guys, I don't want you to be fooled, right, with the activity that you have. You got to know the numbers and how much activity you need to have in order to have success daily, right? So when you're setting appointments, guys, who knows? Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Ash Cash.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. How many appointments do we have to have in a day in order to have success?
Over the phone, I think you need at least between like 18 to 22 appointments over the phone.
Well, that's always good. That is always good. More than enough. But no, guys, no less, thank you, Ash Cash, no less than 10, right? The reason why we say—
Okay, 10 is
Go ahead.
not for in the field. It's not more on the phone than in the field.
It is more on the phone, but because so we're talking about the type of leads that we're running, the system, the play that we're running. You don't want to have anything less than 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if we're talking about the older leads, yeah, you might have to have a little bit, you got to have a little bit more appointments. You got to have at least 15 if you're
I'm
running.
just like, I know I heard that somewhere. I know I ain't tripping. I know it was somewhere that it
Yeah.
needed to
No,
be
you're
more
right.
than in the field. Okay.
You're right. Yeah. But no less than 10, right? The reason why we say this is because 50% of people either cancel their appointments or reschedule. How many of you have ever canceled a doctor's or dentist appointment before? Or you just didn't show up? Okay. It's a normal and natural thing, right? So make it a habit of doing 10. So if you say, well, I got two appointments tomorrow. Guys, you don't have anything. Just now, sometimes it works out, but it's not all the time. But what you can do is, expect to close, you can expect to have success when you have enough activity. But I don't want you guys to fool yourself to think that you have something and you get all, you get all your emotions all excited that you're about to help a family and you only have one appointment. Because then what you're doing is you're letting yourself down. And it's not that the business doesn't work, it's just you're not working it. So when you have 10 or more appointments, guys, and then you're probably thinking to yourself, well, if I have that many appointments, right, where do I fit in the rest of my appointments? Guys, listen, you are allowed to overbook and double book yourself. Most, especially over the phone, most people don't answer the phone. So for me, like from my schedule, I book my schedule every 30 minutes. And if I'm running behind, I just send a client a text. Hey, listen, I'm working with an older client. It's taking them a little bit longer to sign this policy. I'll call you as soon as I finish. But I never stop what I'm doing with one client because I couldn't make it to the next client. If you're overbooked and you're booked and busy and you have 10 or more appointments, there are some people that you're going to miss, but that's okay. But one thing that you are going to do is you're going to close. It's better to have too many appointments and to have clients that you've helped than to not have enough and not close anything for the day. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, guys, also too, when we're setting up appointments, you never want to book out more than a few days, right? And if you know, right, if you book out more than a few days, these clients don't remember and they do not pick up their phones, period, right? People like to work with people who are busy. I know Kylie was talking about that today with an agent, right? So when people ask me, well, can we talk next week? Nope, I'm flying out that next week. I'm actually at a conference. I got today or tomorrow. Which one works better for you? And then at that point, you got to find time in their day when they're available. Well, I got to work those 2 days. No problem. What time are you typically home and settled in? Do you work a regular 9 to 5 or do you work night shift? Guys, they're not working 24/7. There's a time in the day that they're available, right? So it's asking better questions, finding where their schedule is, booking them for that day or the next day, right? And this is how you stay booked and busy. When you're calling and you're doing one call closes, if you're doing one call closes and you're booking appointments, if you're doing this the right way, you should have 10 or more appointments for the next day in between doing one call closes. So for example, I have a list of leads, let's say 50 leads I'm calling, dialing it the FFL way. My goal is to close them as soon as I get them on the phone. If they're not available, I'm booking them the same day or the next day. That way, I'm closing all the sales for the day that I need to on my one call closes, but I have 10 or more appointments for the next day. And then the next day, if I have 10 to 15 appointments, I'm now doing one call closes in between those appointments. So I'm never not on the phone. Is everybody clear about that? This is so that you always have somebody to talk to and you're never sitting there just waiting for your next appointment. Okay. When you book the appointment, right? So what really helped me with setting appointments and having a high ratio of people answering the phones is number one, sounding busy, right? Number two, I'm booking at least 10 or more appointments for the day. But after I finish booking that appointment, guys, if you don't have the CRM, let's say your money not there yet, which is fine, there's ways around it, right? So before I had the CRM, I used Google. Is everybody familiar with Google Calendar? Okay. So Google Calendar, which is free, you can actually put in an appointment on Google Calendar. You can add the client's email and it will send them a reminder for the appointment. Guys, people forget we're all human, right? But what we want to do is increase our chances of people answering the phone when we book the appointment. So I encourage you, if you do not have the CRM that automatically drips on your leads for you, use the Google Calendar and set the appointment. It'll send them an email as a reminder for the appointment that you set for them. And I even go as far as to say, hey, can you open up your email and confirm that appointment? Because what it will do is on your end, you'll see a green check on their email that they confirmed it. That basically is telling you they're more likely to show up to that appointment and answer the phone. Another thing is sending them a virtual business card. If you don't have one, I suggest using, you can use Canva, or if you're a tech person and you know other apps, you can drop whatever apps you use in the chat to create your virtual business card. But this lets them know, like, you are who you say you are. So for my virtual business card, I have my picture, I have who I am, and I have my license. And so I let them know, hey, Amaka, before we get off the phone today, can your phone number receive text messages? Perfect. I'm going to send over my virtual business card so you can verify and identify who I am, so you know I'm a licensed broker. That way, when we jump on the phone and do that appointment, do you have any questions about my credentials and what I sent over? They're going to say no, so that we don't have any issues of them giving up their personal information throughout the entire appointment. But this also helps with the retention of the appointment, because they see, okay, guys, no scammer is going to text somebody their virtual business card, let alone send an email. So if all of your information connects, they see that they're like, okay, this is real. So it makes you more credible as the broker as well. And then last but not least, tie downs, right? Does anybody not know what tie downs are? Right? Okay. All right, cool. So tie downs, guys, and this is how I rate my appointments. So next to each appointment that I make, I rate it between a 1 and a 3. 3 is more likely, and you can do it how you do it, but it's just easier for me to do it that way. 3 is a strong appointment. 1 is they're likely not to show up. And this is how I know where to pretty much double book myself, right? So if you can get through all your tie downs, that's a strong appointment. If you were only able to get through maybe 1 or 2, that's a 2. That's like a half and half, right? But if you weren't able to get through any tie downs, and let's say they were at work and they were busy and they said yes, they agreed, but then just got you off the phone, that is going to be a 1 appointment, meaning they are more likely not to answer their phone when you call them. So I don't want us to fool ourselves thinking we have all these appointments, but what was the strength of the appointment? How many tie downs were you able to get through? So first tie down, and let's see, Kali, I'll just use you.
Okay.
So Kali, what was the time? Now, guys, write this down. This is the first tie down. So Kali, I have you all set up for tomorrow. What was the time that we booked again?
You said 2, right?
Yes, 2.
Okay.
So guys, getting them to tell me the time that we booked lets me know they were paying attention to what I said. If Kali came back and said, oh, what time you say again? She's not paying attention. More than likely, she's not going to answer the phone. So that's the first tie down. All right. Next tie down, Kali.
Yes.
Okay. Before I get you off the phone here, just so I'm prepared for tomorrow, right? Do you already have coverage, or were you just looking for more?
Oh, I got insurance. I have coverage at my job.
Okay, perfect. So you were looking for something that you own on yourself, just in case the job left you or you left the job?
I mean, depends on how much it costs.
Oh yeah, not a problem. We'll get to that. Now, if you like the prices, great. If you don't, we never have to speak again. My job is just to go over that information with you. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. So guys, that's the second one. Because here's the thing. We could go through our whole spiel. And when how many of you raise your virtual hand have called a client? They're like, well, what is this about again? I guarantee you when you ask them that, they're like, hold on, wait, what is this for again? And they're either going to hang up on you if they're not interested, or you're going to book the appointment if they're really looking for coverage. That way you didn't waste an appointment. The next tie down, Kali.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So before I let you go, no, Siri, thank you. Sorry. So Colleen, before I let you go here, is there any reason you would not be able to take my call tomorrow at 2? I just want to make sure I don't get your voicemail.
I mean, I should be available tomorrow. I mean, it depends on if my son comes over.
No, don't send. Goodness gracious, sorry. Okay, say that again, Colleen, I'm sorry.
I said I should be available tomorrow. It depends if my son comes over or not.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you have a concrete time that you know you'll be home and settled just for about 10 to 15 minutes?
I mean, I'll be home tomorrow, but I don't know what time my son is coming.
Okay, so would earlier be better, or should we just keep it at 2?
Maybe can you do around 12?
Yeah, I could do 12.
Yeah, that would work better for me.
Perfect. So y'all hear that? So anytime I say that and I'm getting like a fuzzy, I don't know. Okay, what time do you know you'll be home for sure and settle down? So using those, if you can get through those tie downs, guys, that's a strong appointment. You can rate that a 3. More than likely, they're going to answer the phone. And if they don't answer the phone, more than likely, they're going to text you. If they're really interested and something truly just came up, they're going to send you a text and reschedule. And then you can also say, hey, Kali, was this just for you or for you and your family?
Just for me right now. Like I said, it depends on how much it costs.
I got you. Do you have other people in the household that don't have coverage as well?
I got a little policy on my son when he was a baby.
Okay.
But so maybe, you know, again, I don't know. Depends, you know, I'm on a tight budget, so it just gonna depend.
No worries. These programs were designed for clients that have a fixed income. Does that sound like your situation?
Absolutely.
Okay, no worries. That's what our programs are designed for. So we'll chat about that tomorrow. All right. Do you guys hear that? So so when you make that phone call, guys, the next day when you're calling them, you're like, yes, we spoke on the phone. You said you were interested in, seeing if you can cover the family if it fits within your budget. It makes you more credible. And then it also, you know why you're calling. Now you're not confused and they're not confused either. So when you can get through those tie downs, right? Put a 3, 2, or 1 next to the appointment. And at the end of the day, rate your appointments. Did I have a strong appointment set today where I set my appointments and I booked some strong appointments? Or do I need to work on the strength of my appointments? Do I need to work on my tie? This shows you what you need to work on. So when I first was booking my appointments, I had all these appointments. And I'm like, well, why am I only, why is no one answer the phone? Oh, okay. There's something I'm doing wrong. I'm not tying it down. So I'm booking all these, they want to talk to me, but I'm not tying it down, right? And then why aren't they answering? Oh, I don't have enough appointments. So guys, doing it this way will quickly help you diagnose why you're not having success doing telesales. We understand it's hard. We get it, right? But it does become easier when you submit to the system and you stay consistent and persistent. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. I don't care how good you are. You're not better than the numbers. And if we don't start working the numbers are going to beat us out the business. So it's
we got a
11:59.
couple questions.
Yes.
We got to wrap up. So
Okay.
Mark said he brought up integrity leads system and opened up a whole list of lead suppliers. It's not a bunch of it's one lead supplier, different types of leads in the ILC, Mark, the Integrity Lead Center. So before you go to buy leads, let me help you so you can make sure you're getting the right amount and getting the right type. So that's a big mistake that a lot of new agents make is they go, oh, I just wanted to try out the leads, and you go and buy 10 leads. If you go and buy 10 or 20 or 15 leads, you're wasting your money. So before you buy your first batch of leads, let us help you buy your first batch of leads so you understand what you're buying. You understand why you're getting what we're getting you, get what we're getting you. We don't want you to waste your money. So that's the first question. Israel says, so we can text before calling. So for everybody who's new, I just don't worry about texting before calling, just call. Just use the system for the FFL way of dialing. Let's just keep it simple for now. And that's just kind of like some tips that you can use along the way, but let's just dial the FFL way, the way that's in the video. And then Adina, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. She said, I'm part-time, so is it okay for me to lock in Saturday and Sunday and follow with a reminder text message? I'm not sure what that means.
Oh, is she said like other than the Google Calendar?
She said, I'm part-time. Is it okay
Just
for me to
about
lock?
Like 2
booking
days,
appointments
2
out.
days
How
in
you
advance.
said don't
Hold on,
book
let her
appointments
explain her
more
let her
than.
explain her question. Go ahead,
So
Adina.
when you're saying don't book the appointment more than, let's say, 48 hours, so because I'm doing part, if I want to just push it out specifically for Saturday and Sunday and then remind them, with a text message.
Aren't you
That's
working
good.
some evenings?
Right. But even if I do a follow-up, most of the time it's late, you know what I mean? 7 to 9 is pretty
So
much late for
just
most.
like you're off work 7 to 9, so are other people. So don't discount trying to book for the next day, because people are just like
Okay.
you just getting off work, other people are getting off work too. So you don't,
Okay.
if you can avoid trying to schedule it that far out, like every day that you in between you scheduling them and you actually have an appointment, they're not going to be interested. So that's why we're trying to book either for the same day if possible, or if we have to book an appointment, or the next day. The goal is not to book an appointment though. The goal is to close the client while you have them on the phone. The goal is to do a one-call close. The only time we're booking appointments is if the client is not available at that time when you called them. But if they're available and they can talk, the goal is to close the appointment right then and there. We don't want to set appointments if possible. Because when you get them on the phone that one time, Adina, if you can get them back you luckily get them on the phone at one time, and trying to get them back on the phone is a whole nother thing. So that's why we're trying to avoid booking appointments unless they just aren't available. And if they are available, we want to try to book them as closely as possible to the date that we're calling them. So you can book Saturdays and Sundays, but if it's Monday and you're booking for Saturday, you're probably gonna have to book 20 appointments instead of 10 or 25. Okay.
Makes sense.
And that's good too, because also be mindful of when you're dialing and when you're booking for, because if you're, and this, I'm not saying this is you, Adina, I'm not talking about you guys. This is just an example. Like if you're part-time and you're only working weekends, right? Let's say you're working on Monday and Saturday and Sunday, right? You're not going to dial Monday to book appointments for Saturday and Sunday, right? You have to line up your schedule where whatever day that you're setting the appointments for, right? Or that you're dialing, excuse me, that is the day that you're working. So based on that schedule, like Monday, Saturday, and Sunday, it would make sense to dial on Saturday, one call close, and then if you're gonna book appointments for Sunday and Monday, right? But if they're on Monday, I wouldn't put them on my calendar for Saturday and Sunday because that's just too far out, right? So be mindful of your schedule. And if you need help with it, ask us. We can help you make it make sense, right? So that you can be the most effective to yourself and you can be profitable. Because guys, if we're in business, we're all independent contractors. The goal is to be profitable. Don't get it confused. We came here to make money. But you got to learn how to make money, and it's through following the system.
All right, Karyn, let's go
Any
ahead
other
and wrap
questions?
up. The last question I'm going to ask is, so for the people that were on here last Friday and we talked about the 10 things to do to be successful, I'm going to ask you if you started implementing the things that you weren't implementing before. Does this week look the same way it looked last week before we went over that information? The only way this stuff is going to help you guys that we're going over is if you're taking the things that we're giving you and you start to implementing them. You start, I don't know what I just said. And you start implementing them. So guys, ask yourself if you, and that success test, are you still at an F? Are you still at a D? And if you are at an F or a D or even a C, when are you planning on changing your habits and the things that you're doing so that you can be successful here? So guys, we're going to wrap up live. This is if you don't know how to dial, you can stay on and listen because live dials are still happening here. We got a couple people that are already on the phone. So if you are full-time, this is where you should probably be and probably stay. If you're part-time, we should see you later when you said you're going to jump on. So I would love to see 30 people on the live dials at once. That would be pretty cool. But guys, enjoy. If you're jumping off, enjoy. We'll talk to you soon. But make sure you mark this on your calendar. This is every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Next week, we got Tiffany on overcoming objections. So guys, I'm gonna tell you, if you miss any other training, you do not want to miss overcoming objections, because we can master the script, but if you don't know how to overcome the objections, because most of the people when you call them, it's not gonna just be, yes, I filled that out, yes, I want life insurance. They're going to give you some sort of objection. So make sure that you're here next Friday at 11. Make sure you're jumping on live dials. You're not dialing alone. We are here to help you guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Let's go.